Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
Hey, everybody. Before we jump into the podcast, I'd like to give a big shout out to teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. This kind of brings this podcast to you. Now that we're approaching the double digits here, I want to give a big shout out to teachhoops.com. If you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for a help, and if you're looking for my personal email address, if you're looking for any of that, I know Bill and I are going to be doing some specific stuff for youth coaches. But if you're looking for something in the meantime, teachhoops.com is what allows us to keep the lights on and keep these podcasts coming to you. So go over and check it out. Let's head off to the podcast. All right, welcome, Coach. Coaching Youth Hoops, episode 9. Episode 9.
Pause there for a second.
I did pause because I thought it was 9. We're double digits. We'll have to have a little party next week.
Is that right? Yeah, that's right.
We're 9
because we're 9.
Yeah, episode 9.
More to double digits.
More to double digits.
Yeah. I'm telling you why, Coach. I look forward to these.
This is fun.
Record. This is fun, and the Facebook group. It's taken off. There's lots.
I know. I hope so. There's a Facebook
there.
group. I'll put the link in. The link's always down the bottom. And if you're liking these, because again, Coach and I aren't sure if we're just talking into space.
My
kind of thing.
mom's a listener, so right?
My parents.
Your mom, my
to
mom. We're good.
Yeah, there we go. If you are listening, you can leave a review on iTunes. That'd be great. 5-star review. Leave a review. I think we'll start reading the reviews. Let's read a review next time.
Oh, let's do that.
And then if you listen on Spotify, you got to listen on Spotify, but then you can go down on the bottom of Spotify and leave a review too. So that's relatively new. But anyway,
I know we have one listener because he reached out to me. Shout out to Craig from Pleasant Valley. So.
I know, and I had and I told you I had somebody join Teach Hoops, so that's like we've got
so
the two. We'll talk to the 2 listeners, our moms and those 2 listeners, the 4 listeners. We were just talking about smart lists. It's like they always talk about like a basement. Jason always talks about the 1 listener. They're talking to So the 1 listener, here's what they meant. It's like, okay, 1 listener. You guys make more money than like you can probably count on that podcast, but. All right, what's today's topic?
Did you see?
Coach?
Yeah, they're ranked. They're in the top 10 of all podcasts.
Oh, I believe that.
Smart list, yeah.
Oh, I believe that. I won't tell you what. I told Coach that they were on tour and they came to Madison, and I won't tell you how much I paid for those tickets, but it was worth every penny. Every penny. It was really good.
Good day.
All right, what's today's topic?
How to manage playing time as a youth coach.
Play everybody. Don't worry about it. Kumbaya.
All right,
agree with that,
Coach? Absolutely. Okay. And because over the years, so I'll step up.
And there's a scale to this. There is a scale to this. Yes, go ahead. You jump on that.
Everybody should play. So we had a league where it was a requirement that everybody played. right? And they had to play at least half the game. Okay?
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
That was
Okay.
tough. But in the end, again, as a youth coach, what's our job? What's our job? What's their job, right? So we're trying to build confidence in the kids, right? We talk about sport. Don't want to be their last coach. Get the kids to play. They play because they're loving the game. They want to be with their friends, and they just want to get minutes in a game. So,
Right.
But managing playing time can be difficult, right? Because stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to talk about being coaching to win or coaching to learn.
Right.
So you're in a tight game, and little Johnny, Sally, who's not as talented, but you want to get them in the game, right? It's a close one, and how do you manage?
It's difficult,
time?
and again, I think it's a sliding scale.
Yeah,
like I think in those early elementary schools, they should almost all play relatively the same amount of time. Obviously, the better players, sometimes when I was coaching, I didn't even play the better players. I played them less because we were just like, we were killing. I couldn't play this kid because we would have beat him 83-2. Like I had to kind of back
that's
off.
A good point too.
Yeah. But I like the camp kind of rotation at those younger ages where, maybe you have 8 kids in the team, you play 1 through 5, and then the next group is 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. So you give them each a number, and then you're rotate. That way you're just putting in groups of 5 at a time, and, a couple kids stay in, and they all get to play with each other because maybe I like playing with so-and-so and rather more than whatever. It's about friends and all that. So those younger, kindergarten, first, second, third grades, I think that's a wonderful way to do it, especially at the.
So one technique then you're saying is give everybody a number 1 through X, so whatever
1 through 8, and then you start 1 through, and then maybe at halftime you get a new number, and then you start 1 through 5, and then the next group is 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, and then the next group would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're all playing with different. Now again, if you're in a third grade, maybe competitive league, it might be a little different, but at those younger ages, you want them to have fun and you want them to play. And to be honest with you, the last thing I was worried about who you're guarding, like point at who you're guarding kind of thing, more than playing time. But obviously, you want even in the late middle school or late elementary, early middle school, you want them to play. No one wants to not play. They're not going to come back. And I'll tell a story that you don't know which kid's going to grow 12 inches either. Trust me.
Absolutely.
So you're cutting your what's the expression? Cut your nose off to spite your face, kind of thing. Don't be that person, and we don't know. And anyway. But I think there's a time where obviously if you're dealing with an 8th grade competitive AAU team and you're dealing with a 5th grade rec team, there's a difference in scale.
That's right.
And that AAU 8th grade team, they're probably still paying and they probably should play some. There has to be that scale. But development and growth and enjoyment are a fine balance that need to be. You need to walk that tightrope.
Yeah, you need to walk the tightrope too, because it's not always, unicorns, and it's teaching kids that I didn't get to play as much today, right? Well, why didn't I? Well, you need to show up for practice. You need to do this, right? Playing time. You can use that as hey, you got to show up to play.
You show up for 3 weeks, and I'm not playing you as much as the kid that was there right? There's life lessons to be taught.
There's life lessons. That's exactly right. Yeah.
There are lots of life lessons.
In that youth league that I was talking about, that was mandatory to play half the game. I created a chart, and I just on the left hand side is everybody's name. They had to, and I broke up the quarters into each quarter was a half a quarter. So 1 through 5 played the first half of that first quarter, and then the next ones came in depending on how many had that day. Very similar to the numbering system, but I broke it down so everybody. But the goal was to make sure everybody played by halftime. Okay, so everybody got in and they got their minutes in. Where then I had some flexibility on the second half. If it, like you said, were we crushing a team? Well, I'm going to put in players that maybe could use the work a little bit more to slow things down. were we very close and this was a very competitive game? Well, I'm going to play my better players a little bit more. And in the end, sometimes we were losing big or winning big, and then I just moved players around depending on who fit the situation, right? So in the end, it kind of does work out. But again, give the kids minutes. That's what they want. That's what the parents come to see. That's what the parents come to.
I think one of the big takeaways is you got to think about it before that time. Like I can think about, I can do basketball a little bit easier. But when I've told the story of when I did Little League, I had to play, they had to get at bat. They had to play so many innings. I had to think about that. If I had just shown up and tried to make it work, it wouldn't have worked. So I think some pre-thought has to go into this from a youth coach standing point. If you're the director or you're the high school coach and looking down at the youth, you got to have these discussions with your coaches, or you as the coach have to have that discussion in your brain about how am I going to do this? Like, you just can't show up and assume, because what's going to happen is the game's going to get tight. We're all competitive. You're going to put in, and it's like poor Johnny, Sally, whatever you were talking about, is going to sit over there and not get, it's like, and there's going to be problems after that. Yeah.
Well, the other way I managed it too, sometimes I would have my 4 best players in at one time with the one maybe that wasn't as good.
Good. Yeah.
Right. And then that's another way to manage. You don't have to have your 5 best in. You could have your 3 best in and your 2, kind of.
Yeah, you can do that. But that's, again, you've had thought about that. You go like, these 4 can play with you. Like, I can play on the Bucks if you put Giannis out there in Middleton. I mean,
right.
But I mean, they could probably hide me a little bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Coach? I love that. Put some thought into it. Put some thought into it
is the message. Don't just show up to the game without having a game plan and how you're going to manage your players.
And to be honest with you, you're going to have a big impact on kids' lives in this area.
That's
positive and negative.
That's right. It's a huge thing with parents too, right? So
we'll leave you with that thought. So think about that.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.